am Sandy Powell, and welcome to the Roundtable. I am graced today with a community activist, one who has a love for people in our community, Minister Ben Whittaker. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about you, because I know people are saying, well, who's Ben Whittaker? Who is he?
Well, I was born and raised here, right here in Columbus, Georgia. I came out of East Winton. Just came up here, and I'm a son of a Baptist preacher. Y'all might know him, Pastor Benny Whittaker. Y'all might not know him. Came up in the church, grew up in the church, graduated from Carver High School, went into the military.
How long did you do military?
About 10 and a half years.
Okay.
Went to the Gulf, came back, and back here in Fort Benning, and just tried to navigate life. I started working, and just found life came a little bit challenging. I was in the Gulf War. I guess I'm just
a vet?
Yes, I am a vet.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Just met some challenges in life, and kind of unfortunately hit that bottom rung. That bottom rung, for us, our concern was being homeless myself. And what that did within itself, it could have left me kind of barren and angry, but it also, through Christ, gave me an opportunity to understand that people go through things in life and those challenges, and so it just gave me a heart for people. Many times you see people that may not be, for as the world sees it as prospectively successful, and we pretty much kind of push them to the wayside, and I see those are souls, and these are people that needs to be ministered to. So that's kind of the gist.
I think that our ministries, or what God called us to do, comes from our hard places sometimes. And when you talk about being a vet, see, that's near and dear my heart. My son is also a veteran.
Awesome.
And also suffers from PTSD.
Yes.
And when you tell me that you found yourself homeless, dealing with this after military life, I truly, truly, truly understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Not that I've been there, but I understand how that happens.
Yes.
And why we should not judge when we see people in those states, because mental health is out there on our streets, and sometimes people, that's their only way of coping, and they just don't know another way.
That's right.
And so you found your ministry of ministering to the homeless, and ministering to the lost and the downtrodden.
Correct.
Because you understand where they've been.
Yes, exactly.
Right. You now presently minister over at the Safe House, is how I came about talking with you at a luncheon. And I found it intriguing, as well as an honorable thing that you would give yourself to ministry, in ministering to those that people sometimes won't take the time to speak to. And so you can relate to them. Tell me, how is your regular interaction, and what do you feel like that you are giving when you're there?
Well, when we first started, I hooked up with another individual called, they know about Billy Bob. Most people might not know Billy Bob, but Billy Bob gave his heart to God, and Billy Bob said, as long as I'm living, I will feed the homeless, and he has been steadfast on that vow. And me and him just kind of partnered, and we just start feeding down to the park. I don't know if y'all remember when they were feeding. And we would do that.
What park were you feeding in?
Right there off of Veterans, the park down by the Salvation Army, that big park down there. You probably drove past it many times.
Many times.
Where, a lot of times where you see homeless people sitting out in that park, that park there. We would do that once a week on Saturdays, just to supply a meal, and also to minister to them, minister to their needs. So it kind of built relationships, where they can say at least somebody cares, and somebody, we can minister to them. And unfortunately, that got diminished because of circumstances, and they start moving it up to the Safe House, and that's where we kind of congregate now. And at one time I was doing it like 5-6 days a week, and Came a little bit too much, so I do it like once a week, you know, or whatever the needs may
Right,
be. Yeah.
exactly. So when you were in a homeless state, can you tell me a little bit how you were treated by people just on their regular day?
That is one of the most eye-opening things I had, you know, because at one point I saw myself in that vehicle. You know, say a vehicle passes by you and you look for eye contact, you know, most people will turn their heads, you know. It makes you feel like you're less than human, subhuman.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you start to take on that persona that people perceive you as, and that's why many of the homeless they kind of shy away from people because they've been lied to.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the Safe House and what you do there at the Safe House.
Mainly, I give just I minister to them. They give them a little forum, a stage where I can actually minister to a group for the most part, and for the most part, God gives me an opportunity to kind of really try to lift people up that are going through hard times and the troubles, the challenges that life is throwing at them. You know, it is just having a little bit of intimacy with each and every one of these individuals.
Right.
It brings them up, it brings them out, it gives them hope, it gives them some peace, you know, that they're not going through it alone. I think that's one of the biggest
Main
challenges
thing.
they face. Yes.
And we talked about off camera, we talked about how when you were in the military, that you had that morale
Yes.
from the other soldiers that you kind of can build each other up with.
That's right.
But once you got out of the military, you were kind of on your own.
That's right.
And so at the Safe House, you kind of create that kind of environment where you can encourage each other.
Yes.
Tell me who's at the Safe House. Tell me who's there. I mean,
What type of people?
What type of people are at the Safe House?
You would think that everybody's from the lower rung. You got people there with college degrees. You know, you would think they wouldn't be there. You got people that have just had positions and titles and businesses and companies. You also have people deal with mental illness. You got
Right.
people that are going through physical disabilities, and because you know there's a lean time between when you get disabled and when possibility
That's right.
that you're going to get it. You know,
Right.
so you know. Your rent, you know, if you're not working, you can't get paid,
pay
and
the
you
rent.
can't pay rent, you can't pay utilities, so you end up on the street for the most part. There are people that are coming out of correctional facilities, just a wide range of individuals. There's just no set individual
Right.
that you're seeing.
So you're catering to all walks
Yes, yes,
of life,
yes, yes,
all races
yes.
of people are there. And the wonderful thing about what you do is, because we talked about this previously, and I want to go back to this, is that you cater from where you have been.
Yes.
You cater from a place where you once were homeless. You cater, and so you're able to understand the platform.
Yes. Exactly.
Those that suffer from PTSD or mental illness, you relate.
Yes.
And I want to say this to you. First, thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your sacrifice and the giving, because you have given quite a bit. When you are in before the people and you're giving them words of hope, tell us, what was your lift? What got you to where you can now pull someone else up?
Truly, it came from fostering a relationship with God. That was the lowest point of my life.
Right.
And for the most part, God will meet you on that lowest rung of the ladder. And through that ordeal, it encouraged me,
Right.
you know, that there's somebody on my side. There's somebody that has my back, you know, despite, unfortunately, those that I thought that were going to be in my corner, those are the ones that departed, you know, friends, family, you know,
Right.
and that's fine, you know, and I like it because if He allowed that to get me to where I'm at, then that process
Right.
was fine and it's okay, you know, that's the refining process.
Right.
So it gave me a core belief system beyond what we see in the world, and now I'm able. What He poured into me, I'm able to pour into others.
Right. I know that sometimes and I know the show is about you are being able to minister at the Safe House and what you give to those who may feel hopeless. But I have to look at this one part here, because you suffer from PTSD.
Yes.
And a lot of times we're unable to support you because we don't understand
Yes.
what you're really, really going through. And so sometimes that's why family and friends fall along the
Yes.
wayside, because they think you can, like what we talked about, snap out of it,
Yeah.
shake that thing,
Yeah.
get over it, get on with life. You know, all of those statements, I'm sure you've heard it
Yes.
1,000 times. And it's just not that easy. And even though you have found Christ and he is your center, you still have to get up every day and make your mind up to get up and do this thing all over again, right?
That is the key, because we resolutely think that coming to Christ, everything's going to be just fine. It doesn't. It is a daily walk where you get in His presence. You know, you think that it's just one pill that you're swallowing and everything's fine. It's not. It is a daily walk that, you know, He encourages you, because the world doesn't stop. You know,
Right.
it keeps on going, and
Exactly.
the challenges and the trials and tribulations, they keep coming. And the enemy, of course, you know, he's against you. So you have to be aware, you know, that godly presence is always there. Get in your word. I think that's one of the key things. Get in His presence with prayer, and just understand that it's not going to happen overnight. It's progressive. You know?
Right.
And so when you walk the journey out, you know, He'll open doors. He'll
Right.
bring you understanding. He'll
Right.
bring you wisdom, guidance, and all these things to equip you. You know?
And then you have those good days,
Oh, yes.
and then you have those bottom outs.
Yes.
Those
Yes.
bottom out days.
Yes.
And those are the days that you look for support. Who do you go to for support when you're having a bad day?
I have become, I think, for the most part, I would say a little bit more solitary than I should be. One of my companions is my sister. I go to her many times and just throw things back and forth, because we have a history, you
Right.
know. And that way she understood where I came from, some of the things I was dealing with, you know, and some of the challenges. And of course my wife, you know, me and her, we have this rapport that, you know, because she was there going through some of the
Right.
traumatic events that I went through. So,
Right.
those, and of course my pastor.
Your pastor.
My pastor, of course, you know. Like I said, it's just a small group that I really kind of invest a lot of, you know, my trials, my challenges in life.
And I think that that's fine. I think that if the circle is too big,
Yeah.
you get messed up. I
Yeah.
think that when it comes down to sincere heart matters, and it's kind of like changing clothes. When you unrobe, you don't want to do it in front of a crowd.
There you go.
You really just kind of want to have only those people who you're intimate with to really unrobe and just tell your deepest, darkest
There we go.
moments with, and share that with them. And do you provide that at the Safe House to those who may not have a pastor, a sister, a wife? Are you a confidant to some of them?
Yes. That's why I say God is so awesome. I might not get that whole room, but there's an individual in that room that message just really hits home, and they will come to me later on behind the scenes and say, yeah, you hit home. And then they'll start bringing up some intimate details about themselves. And that's why you just see the presence of God just really operate in the place. And that's where you see His power
Right.
and His ability, not in my ability and what He's doing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just a tool. you know.
Exactly, exactly. I think that you are the epitome of Paul, who says that he wants this thorn in his side to be removed.
Yes.
But God says, my grace is sufficient. And so you operate out of that sufficient grace, you know, that even in my struggle, in my battle, in my disability, God uses me to aid and help those on the days that I'm up.
Yeah.
I can help lift you and encourage you and empower you that you can continue in this fight and in this battle. And I think that is commendable to you for what you're doing at the Safe House. And do you minister in other places? Do you take invitations from others to?
Haven't really got those, and that's fine. I do minister at our church. Like I said, we're living free now. Dr. Jacqueline Owusu is our
Go ahead and give her a shout out.
Dr. Jacqueline Owusu, senior pastor and overseer.
That's right. That's right.
I'm thankful for that opportunity that I get to minister there, teach there, and so forth. When that opportunity, when God opens that door, that's fine with me. I'm not. It's not that I'm seeking that, but like I said, I just wait and allow God to move when He sees fit.
I think that that a lot of times we overlook those who have been in the trenches to speak to the things that we only, like me. I have never been in a war zone, and I'm not saying that's the only way you can get PTSD. I'm not saying that. But you could speak to soldiers in a way that I could not speak to soldiers before and after war. You know, if they've never been, you can speak to them in a way that I couldn't speak, and then those who have been, you could speak in a way. And so I'm going to keep your number close by because I love to do things pertaining to the vets, and I love to give time and space to the vets because you are heroes. You're the reason why we all get to sit quietly at home and feel safe from foreign woes, so to speak. And so I'm going to keep your number for that reason because I think that you have something to say. Being that you're Christ-centered and that you also have the battle when it comes to the homeless, when you go out, do you still go out amongst the homeless in the areas, or do you mainly deal with the Safe House now?
Well, before we did on a grand basis, a greater basis, but being that they're congregating more there
at the Safe House.
At the Safe House, you just kind of have majority of them there. You know, if there's a need to go out, we will do it. Just based on need, you know. We'll ask them, what are your needs? What can we help you? What can we do for you? You know, like I said, during this weather now, do you need a blanket? Do you need gloves? Do you need hats? You know, we just try to fulfill a need as we can.
Who do you get your financial support from? Are y'all? Do you take donations?
Donations
from people. Who do you solicit from? Then do you? How do you get your requests known?
Like I said, Billy Bob, he is just one of the, I have to give him a shout out. He's just an awesome guy. He went through a lot of challenges, and like I said, he's made a vow. So God just provides, you know. When he makes a request, like for blankets and gloves and whatever, people just automatically say, what do you need? What can I do for you? And so God is just meeting our needs, you know.
Well, tell the listening audience where donations can be sent or brought, if there's an address that can be given, or is there a place that donations can be sent? Is there some place that we can send information?
Well, donations? Right now, we're at 1811 Victory Drive, Suite 3.
Suite 3.
That's our address for our church. So that would be, like I said, if there's a need be, a lot of times we'll go get it. You know, he has a truck, he has trailers, whatever you can bring to the table. We're going out on hopefully on the 22nd and just try to find people that are in need, you know, whether it be gloves, hat, coats, or whatever.
And we're in a cold season. We haven't had a cold winter in a while, but this seems to be the year that we're getting a little bit more cold weather and wet weather, and so it's not nice outside.
No.
And some of them don't really know to come in out of the cold. They just prefer to be out there on the street because they have fears, anxiety about coming in, and they're in danger with the cold weather. So y'all try to supply them what they need to stay out there.
Whatever we can. We've supplied tents. We've provided sleeping bags. We've provided jackets, like I said, gloves, whatever we can. The Safe House is standing policy, 25 degrees and below. They can actually stay in there until that weather kind of warms up.
So what's the temperature that it can come
25 degrees and below.
25 and below. So at 32, still is cold.
It's cold.
So you try to supply them what they need to make it
Yes.
out there at
Yes.
that time. I hope that the listening audience hear our plea and hope that they will come to you all's assistance and help you all with what you're doing. Because I do believe this, the body of Christ is made up of many
Yes.
members. And so your role is this, my role is this.
Yes.
And so together we work together to make sure that we can accomplish what we both need to accomplish here in the earth.
Amen.
I think, Ben, that you have been a delight to me from the moment that I met. We had lunch at the IMA's luncheon, and that's the first time I think I've met you. Was that the first time you met me?
No, I was here when y'all had I don't know if you were here.
The luncheon here?
Yes.
Okay, I was in hostess mode then.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to be a guest and sit down and just mingle like I want to. But it's been a pleasure meeting you.
Same here.
I want to let you know that we will put you a little spin out there on our show to get those that may want to be assistant to you all and the work that you're doing. What's the gentleman's name again?
Billy Bob
Billy Bob. Billy Bob got a last name.
Henderson.
Billy Bob Henderson.
Billy Bob Henderson.
Yeah, and if you want to be a help to Billy Bob Henderson and what they're doing over at the Safe House, contact Mr. Ben Whittaker at, what's the address?
1811 Victory Drive, Suite 3, or my cell phone, 706-393-5530.
And meet him there. Do you take volunteers over at the Safe House to help do?
Yes.
You need volunteers.
Well, first and foremost, they allow any organization to come down there. If you want to serve a meal, if you want to minister, whatever you want to do, they leave that door an opportunity for whatever group that want to come down there. They open their kitchen to you. If you want to bring food down there to serve, they will do it. If they will open the kitchen to you, if you want to actually cook a meal there. So these are opportunities. If you want to minister to people that are in that position, that door is open.
Wow. Now, let me ask you one more question. When it comes down to your hours of operation, tell us the times that the doors are open.
Safe House.
Yes.
They are open at 7:30 in the morning for breakfast. Lunch is at 11:30, and like I said, you have to be out by 2:30. So the homeless have the opportunity to be there doing that between 7:30 and 2:30.
So 7:30 to 2:30, they can be up in there just
Yes.
enjoying whatever.
Yes.
And then at 2:30 they have to leave. Is there a dinner served there?
No, they don't do dinner.
They don't do dinner.
They have the other ones, the House of Mercy. They have Salvation Army, and they have other ones that serve dinners. So that's what.
Okay, so then you recommend them to go to those other locations?
Most do. No, most
and
do.
They do.
Most do.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Whittaker, Minister Whittaker, thank you for gracing the round table with your presence. Again, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you've done. And in hearing your story, I hear the things that you have lost in your service.
Yes.
And I just thank God that He has restored you.
Yes. Yes.
And giving you this platform to now be a help and assistance to so many others. I would love to have you come back when we do our recognition of our soldiers.
Sure.
And talk to us a little bit more in detail with, I know it's dear to my heart, our soldiers, PTSD, and that I call invisible disability. Yes,
it is.
I call it that. And so, again, thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching today. We thank God for men like Minister Whittaker, who sacrificed themselves over and over again. He has given up himself to our country. Now he comes back home, and in his moment of being down, is able to find a way through Christ to lift himself back up and now give himself again to his community. And so we are thankful for that, and we ask God to bless him. Until next week, I'm Sandy Powell. I'll meet you back here at the round table. The Samaritans, we need to do that. But I also know the signs of the times is just a calling of what we would do. He already knew that we would digress to this. Not that it was supposed to happen, but somehow we got away from God and the values of the church. And so now this is the fruit of what we have gotten away from. Please come back and share with me here at the round table when you get your book written.
Absolutely.
Would you do that?
You got it.
Okay, y'all heard it now. She's committed. That's called verbal contract.
Now we're not shook up.
Yes, it is a book that many people will benefit from that have been through child molestation and abuse. And sometimes someone else's voice becomes their voice. And it's empowering. And that's what people like you, like myself, I can name many others who say from their place of abuse, they stand up and say, I'm going to tell my story. And it's liberating. Make conversation a place of comfort, even when it's an uncomfortable situation.
Right.
Let them feel safe talking to you. Like, it may be a situation that, you know, if you walked up on it, you might spank them, but if you want to know information about your children, don't let it feel like if I tell them, I'm going to be in trouble, you know, and always keep your word in that. If you say, well, just tell me the truth, I just need to know the truth. You know, there may be some consequences, but stick to your word as to what you say you're going to do pertaining to that situation. When we're going through our thing as parishioners, we're consumed with that. And we don't really keep in mind that you have, however many you're serving, you have to consider all of those people as well. And at some point, you're not going to be able to touch everybody directly. Like, sometimes you might have to send an associate minister to do things. But most time they want their what?
Pastor.
I want my pastor. Where my pastor at?
That's right.
A city like a church. If the young get up and leave, it dies.
It's sooner or later.
If the young get up and leave, that church will die.
I don't care how many rich tithers you got in there. If you don't have youth in there, they are going to die.
It's going to die.
And their money will perish with
That's
them.
exactly. Sometimes we mothers don't understand the importance of that father's role in the son's life. And for our feelings, however we may feel about it, we actually sometimes we mothers sometimes we actually cause division and divide.
World Changes Tabernacle, led by Prophet Prathan Powell, is a word-based church committed to seeing you win. We're called to create a loving and caring community for all people and work together for justice and peace in our world. Recognizing that our spiritual journeys are all different, we strive to be respectful and inclusive concerning each individual's relationship with God. We believe that Christianity is a lifestyle, and we're committed to teaching, learning, and living the Word of God. It's more than a song, more than a shout, more than a dance. Whether you're a committed follower of Christ or just curious about God, you are invited to visit with us. Give us a call or check out our website for more information or to see our sermon times.